And we just create a cube. We make it, well, 2 meters wide is okay. And then let's say we go 5 and 20, something like that. Then we have something like a wood plank. And we are also going to create a Redshift material. So I go to create, Redshift, materials, material, and assign it to the cube. All right, now let's make it a little bit smaller and let's bring up the Redshift shader graph. Because the first thing that I want to show you is how you can create those rings. And the way I did this, let me start the IPR. The way I did this is by using a noise and combining it with the ramp. So basically everything that I'm going to show you today is a combination of noises, ramps, and layer shaders. That's basically it. Well, every now and then I will use another node, but that's the ones that we're heavily relying on. So, all right, let's start with creating the rings. And there's also the first thing that I want to make you aware of. If you are using a node material, and let's say we create a ramp for now, what we see, the one thing that's obvious, and let me connect this to the output, is that, well, this is a ramp. This is a color ramp from black to white. But the other thing is that this is not just color, what we see here. This is also data. And I prepared a link for you, and I think Ellie is going to share it because I recorded a tutorial about data types and node-based material systems. And definitely check that out because it gives you some very valuable basic knowledge about node-based material systems in general. And once you understood which material, data types are carrying what type and what kind of data and how much data, this is very useful. So what we have in the ramp here is color from black to white, but it's also, if we're talking through this by using numbers as a reference, we're going from 0 to 1. Now, the first thing that I want to do in order to make those rings happen is I want some sort of procedural ramp that allows me to add as many rings as I want to. And those rings are defined by one gradient here. So what I can do is I can search for a multiply node. It's called mul, and we're going to use the scalar one. Scalar always means that this is well, a scalar value, which means that it's a value with numbers after the point, so decimals and so on. And we're going to pipe the ramp into the multiply node, and then we're going to multiply the whole thing with 1 for now. And I'm also going to use this in the surface out, and this won't make any difference. But if I bring this up to, let's say, 10, you can see that the gradient goes from here to here, which is the range between 0 and 1. But then there is 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, up to 10. 10 is up here. But you can see from 1 to 10, it's just white because the display is clamped to values between 0 and 1. But we can use data below and above 0 and 1. So that's good to know. So actually, what we have here is a white that's 10 times brighter than the white we have here. That is very, very complex and abstract, but that's the way it is. So how can we map this in a way that we're getting 10 gradients here? Well, the answer is a node that is called mod. It's the Modulo node. And basically, what a modulo does, and I'm going to switch to another one of my favorite apps, which is TextEdit, is a little bit of primary school math. And we're having 0 divided by 3 equals 0. 3 divided by 3 equals 1, and 6 divided by 3 equals 2. But what did we do back in primary school when we had to divide 1 by 3 or 2 by 3? I can tell you. What we did was we said that the result is 0, but we've got a remainder of 1. And here with 0, we got a remainder of 0. We just never wrote that in primary school, but it was there. And then 2 divided by 3 also equals 0, but we've got a remainder of 2. And if you carry on with that sequence, you've got a remainder of 0 again here. If you divide 4 by 3, you've got a result of 1 and a remainder of 1, and so on. So 5 by 3 is 1 with a remainder of 2. And now you should see something that is very interesting. By using these remainders, we're getting a sequence, a repetitive sequence. It's 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and so on. And this goes until infinity. So we can use this remainder in order to create repetitions. And this is exactly what the modulo does. It gives you this remainder value. All right, so let's just pipe the multiply node into the modulo node. And here you go. Now we've got 10 gradients here. And the funny thing now is, if I use a noise as the input, like so, okay, let's make it a little bit smaller. We'll scale, let's say 0.5. And yeah, if I use this as the input and connect the modulo back to the surface, we get this. So we are mapping values from black to white or 0 to 1 onto these gradients. And the cool thing is that it's a procedural setup. So by adjusting the multiplier here, we can add more rings to our wood, so to speak, or less, depending on which value we are choosing. And we can also adjust the basic noise here. So if we, for example, want this to be stretched, we can scale it non-uniformly, for example, by 10 in X direction, and then we're getting something like this. And you see where this is going.